Well, thanks for joining us on BloombergQuint. Joining me is Jeff. He is the global CEO of Coursera. Jeff, thank you so much for your time and speaking to BloombergQuint.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Coursera is a name that comes to mind when it talks about online default learning platforms. Now talk to me about where does India fit for Coursera? How are you growing in terms of the user base? And exactly, where does India really fit for you?
Yeah, well, we today, after 7 years, have over 44 million learners on the Coursera platform. I mean, it started 7 years ago as 2 professors from Stanford put up a few courses.
Right.
A lot of people came, and now there's 170 universities. They've authored 3,600 courses. What we find, if you look at the top countries and which learners are the ones who are on Coursera, the most frequent learners come from the US, followed by India, then China, then Mexico, then Brazil. So there's 4.8 million learners from India who are on Coursera taking courses right now. It's the second after US.
Right, and you just raised also a round of funding as well earlier this year. Also talk to me about the kind of investment you're making in India, how much of the investment we can see coming into India as well, just alone for the Indian market.
Yeah. Well, so as a platform company, we try to make almost all the functionality available to all markets. The way that we really differentiate by market is the kinds of courses and the kinds of skills that often need to be taught in a given market, and often the brands of the universities who are available on the platform. So a couple days ago, we just announced our first relationship with an IIM Calcutta.
Right.
And so one of the things that we've heard from a lot of the Indian learners is they absolutely revere the IIMs and the IITs. I mean, it's like a childhood dream of most Indians that they could actually learn from the professors at one of these schools. IIM Calcutta was the first IIM to be created, and they're also the first IIM to author on Coursera. So one of the ways that we are really ramping up to serve the Indian market is by working with IIM Calcutta and others. They're going to do 2 certificate programs, one in management science and one in supply chain analytics.
Right.
Another thing that we've been really working on is Coursera for Business. So this is a version of Coursera for companies who are trying to upskill their employees. We've already been hired by more than 50 companies in India who are, especially like the IT service providers, who are realizing that their clients are going to be needing new types of services on cutting edge emerging technologies, blockchain, cybersecurity, AI, cloud computing, things like that. And they're realizing Coursera is a great place to go to help upskill their employees.
Right, and you're launching a platform for making also universities go into that digital journey called Coursera for Campus. Talk to me more about how exactly will it work, benefit you as well as the universities as well.
Yeah, well, what we found is after doing the Coursera for Individuals, just opening it up to anyone in the world, we do have a lot of people coming to Coursera directly. But when we launched Coursera for Business, we realized there are many institutions who really need to upskill their people and their constituents. The first was businesses, so we launched Coursera for Business. We now have over 2,000 companies who've hired us to upskill their employees. We launched Coursera for Government. We're now working with 10 governments around the world to upskill their civil service workers and do workforce development. But there's another kind of institution that's fundamental to almost every human society. It's universities and the educational system. So Coursera for Campus is basically an offering that allows any college and university in the world to offer courses on Coursera to their students. And not only can they offer these courses by subscribing, it's a little bit like a digital textbook, if you will. They can also use the Coursera platform to author courses for their own faculty, staff, and students for free.
Okay.
And so it's really kind of neat because they can immediately upgrade their curricular offering by buying courses, but over the long term, they can use Coursera at no cost to get into the mode of digital teaching and learning.
And over the last couple of years, we've seen a number of online learning platforms, especially vertically focused platforms as well coming up, not just in India but globally as well. And they've also set up shops in the country as well. How difficult is it to make Indians pay for the courses, and how is that the revenue generating, the pay model working for you, especially looking into the Indian market?
Yeah, what we found is although India is the second largest population of learners on Coursera among all the other countries, the conversion rate, the number of people who buy courses is a lower percentage. So anyone can go and take any course for free, but they just get to watch the videos. So that's where we see a lot of Indian learners just kind of watching the videos. But if you want to get the certificate that says you completed it, you have to subscribe to that.
Right.
We find that conversion rate to be lower. The key thing about Coursera for Business is that the businesses actually purchase the courses, the full course with the certificate and the quizzes and everything, and they make it available to their employees for free. The government buys Coursera courses and makes it available to their civil service workers and other workforce development programs for free. And with Coursera for Campus, what's really wonderful is in almost every instance, the university buys the courses, the students get them for free. So offering Coursera through institutions like businesses, governments, and campuses is a way to make the full Coursera experience available to Indian learners at no cost to the learner.
Right, but is that model sufficient enough to make money for Coursera to be sustainable as well at the same time?
So far, our Coursera for Business division has been growing more than 100% per year. So it's really growing very, very rapidly. And I think one of the things that's driving that is that institutions like businesses are realizing if we don't upskill our people and learn the modern skills, we will be at a huge global competitive disadvantage. So it is mission critical to businesses to make sure that they're upskilling their people. And when you look at universities, if those graduates are not employable, then students will stop coming to the university. And if students stop coming to the university, then it's going to be really tough for the university. So institutions are realizing this is really, really important, and they're willing to pay for the value of keeping up with digital transformation by working with Coursera.
Right, and you have close to about 4 million users in the country.
4.8 million learners in India, yeah.
How much of that, any sense, how much of those are paying customers, and any estimate?
Typically it's around 10%. I think in India it's more like 5%. So,
okay.
So
is that percentage increasing? Are people getting more comfortable paying for the courses? Is that a trend you're also seeing?
You know, as we get better at understanding what types of skills are learners looking for, especially in India, when we find those courses that teach skills that the Indian learner says, that's going to help me get a job, it does help with the conversion rate.
Okay. What's the future for Coursera you foresee, and the path to profitability?
Yeah, well, I think that the future for Coursera is really delivering on our mission. So literally, when Daphne and Andrew started Coursera, their objective was to make high-quality education available to everyone in the world so that it can transform people's lives. Education is really important, but often the credential that you get that helps you get the job is a key part of that transformation. Right. So I'd say our future is more global reach, serving more audiences with a broader array of not only content, but credentials like the IM Calcutta Master's Track Certificate, like online degrees, so you really can help people get ahead in their lives.
And profitability, and also just want to add, are you looking at IPO as well?
You know, probably at some point. Obviously, when you raise $100 million, it takes the pressure off of looking to the public markets for capital.
Right.
But when we think about profitability, it's a balancing act. And this is, another thing that every entrepreneur and VC knows is mostly what investors are looking for are very large addressable markets, a company who has a product and a distribution strategy that can create very predictable and fast top-line growth. And separate from overall profitability, they look to what they call operating leverage. And operating leverage is really the unit economics that says, okay, separate from the fixed cost, as this company grows, how profitable can it become? What are the gross margins? What are the operating margins? So profitability is less important. Growth rate and operating leverage are really what you want to show. And then the third thing I'd add to that is competitive advantage. You have to show that if you're very successful, you can be different in a sustainable way from your competition. All right,
Jeff, it's indeed a pleasure speaking with you.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much for your time and speaking to BloombergQuint.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.